It's the 13th of the 2nd, 2025, and there is news as far as championship favourites, both of the drivers and constructors variety. The boys and girls at the Papaya Killer team, they call McLaren. As at the time of writing, Lando Norris is joint co-favourite, 3-1, 1 over 25 or even 25% of the time. They say that Lando Norris wins, and we're about to review all of the aforementioned under that umbrella heading. McLaren today seen the first proper car of 2025 as far as shape, not livery, seen testing at Silverstone today. Oh, the humanity. Here is the footage. Roll the clip. One definitely does not hate that. It looks serious, doesn't it, for whatever that's worth? It looks fast. What does that even mean? It means that McLaren come into the 2025 season with the fastest car by dint of the FlexiWing and or Mini DRS that Oscar Jack Piastri leveraged to win himself a Baku Grand Prix last year. So too, you'll recall at the Italian Grand Prix, Lando Norris dropped it on pole when he had a front flexi-wing doing one of these. McLaren, by dint of Rob Marshall, the last front wing bender, have all they need to do. They have all of the expertise even to leverage that front flexi-wing with a view to effect for durable competitive advantage. Let's have a look at some of these pictures of this McLaren so too. Lando Norris in the bloody sexy overalls. Again, a gazillion times better than anything that we've seen from the bulls that are red. And you get your first look up front, up close of the MCL38. Oh, the humanity. It looks quick, doesn't it? Camouflage livery, yeah, cool, they can change that, but again, the rules are that none of the teams are allowed to show a car that they're going to race in 2025 with livery the same, because so many people have bought tickets for the F175 event at the London O2 Arena. Let's have a look at this as well. Differences, it just looks sharper. At the top of your screen, the 2024, courtesy of the boys and girls over at the race. 2025 iteration seen today breaking out at the bottom. What can you say? So the difference is right as far as the side pod. Again, vertical settings reminiscent of the bulls that are red now in 2024. Some are saying that they've borrowed, no, stolen a lot from their design. And again, this is all under the umbrella heading of optimizing for suspension and aerodynamic, the all important aerodynamic efficiency. It looks slender, right? More sharp even, and again you can't see what's going on with the front flexi wing, but you wouldn't, because again, not under load. The front flexi wing and so too the rear wing will be the battleground upon which the fight for the drivers and constructors championships are fought. More pictures, go on then. Front wing settings, I can't spot the difference again, but I'm a B-spec, a noddy B-spec F1 mind. Picture on the right, courtesy of the guys and girls over the race. Picture on the left, courtesy of Racing News 365. Top picture 2025, bottom one 2024. Am I being noddy? Why can I not spot the difference? It looks a tad more angular. The side pods are different. Go on then, let's talk to this. In fact, let me show you Autosport's picture first. That's the best one, the best quality one. And I'm so glad to see these 2025 iteration cars out on track. Let the talking finish and the racing therefore start. Nate, I hear what you're saying. Adrian Newey special, any right? They've stolen, and Andrea Stella has said as much. Here's what they've said, and we'll talk about Lando Norris, who's been interviewed by Craig Slater, Sky Sports F1 over the last couple of hours. Here's what they're planning to do. Last year, they delayed all upgrades because they didn't want their championship campaign to fall at the altar of imbalance. That were the foibles and the travails that Red Bull suffered from last year. You'll recall Maximilian Verstappen saying, I'm -5 brake bias and the car won't fudging turn. They brought too many upgrades too quickly, and they in turn became downgrades, making the car in terms of absolute downforce better, but in terms of drivability poorer for it. Here's what McLaren have done now, courtesy of Andrea Stella, team principal, Pep Guardiola of F1. He says that they've built the car at the altar of aerodynamic efficiency and or tyre management, understanding that at those two altars there is material upside, and so lap time. It's bold and aggressive. They've remodelled the monocoque, so too the rear suspension, doing some very sexy things per Adrian Newey as far as all of the airflow. Lest we forget, this is ground effect. Aerodynamic efficiency is therefore king, especially if parlayed together with some cheeky flexi-wing action. TD18 will kick in as at the 8th race of the year, Spanish Grand Prix. The flexi-wing, 15mm outboard portion of the front wing. That's what it was last year. Now it will be 10. The inboard portion was 5. Now will be 3. So what do? Split your resources? No. Who was responsible for that? Was it McLaren, Zach Brown? Well, he gave an interview a couple of days ago saying that politicking is part of Formula One, that indeed there is lap time in it. Oh, the humanity. I cannot wait for this season to kick off proper. Again, if I didn't mention, Lando Norris, current favourite to win the World Drivers' Championship. If you run this simulation, this championship of the drivers' variety 100 times under this current set of circumstances, they say Lando Norris wins 25% of the time. Oh, and by the way, if you did a compare and contrast, a couple of weeks back it was 33%. People aren't betting on Lando. I think they fancy themselves one Maximilian Verstappen, as they should, if indeed truth, value and objectivity are things that you hold near and dear to your heart. Oh, and by the way, Lando Norris in an interview on the back of today's testing, there were a couple of different pictures. He was driving a McLaren P1, a slammed one with the bloody tyre font around the tyre wall. Controversial that. We'll talk about that for the automotive pugilists amongst you. McLaren P1 tick with the bloody writing around the tyre wall, not so keen. However, Lando Norris had a few things to say about this season. He said on the back of last year's experience racing McLarens, racing Maximilian Verstappen even, he said something's clicked, that he's not coming in this year, he's not coming in too much arrogance. Maybe that was last year's fair. He says, all my life I've been telling myself that I can't, but for the first time in 2025, I'm telling myself, yes, I can. Craig Slater counters that Julius Caesar once said that experience is the best teacher. Is that not the case for you then, Lando? While you're currently the favourite over one Maximilian Verstappen, Lando Norris counters, last year was a good warm-up for this year. To come back and fight with one of the best of recent years, and this is a change in terms of Lando Norris's terminology, right? His turn of phrase ever so slightly different. Last year it was Max Verstappen is the best. He's one of the best, if not the best that I've ever seen. Here's what he says now. Compare and contrast, chat. To come back and fight with one of the best of recent years. I mean, Max is up there with Lewis and Seb and those kind of guys. Oh, the humanity. Deference has been peeled back ever so slightly now. This is techie. Lando Norris is, in his tone, in the way that he refers to Maximilian Verstappen, there is material variable change as versus 2024. Talking as well, by the way, about Sir Lewis Hamilton. He says of Ferrari and the dream that was the move. The unprecedented 8th, of course, is on the line as far as stakes. Said the following: there are certain bonuses to having Lewis drive at Ferrari, and anybody who doubts that fella would be absolutely silly. Oh, the humanity. Listen, all the talking must stop now. We have a car out on track, and I, for one, cannot wait to see these guys go hard over the next couple of weeks, both in testing and at the first Grand Prix of the year at Australia. It's going to get techie. Fast forward, inject it into me. There are only a few seats left until the season kicks off in earnest. Lando Norris currently 3-1 favourite to win the championship of the drivers' variety. Lando Norris, your move, sir.